Today, I will teach you how to identify the signs and symptoms of dosha imbalance and which one would be imbalanced or which ones. It's not uncommon for you to have 1, 2, or even 3 imbalanced at the same time. So we're going to start with vata. I'll explain all 3 today, and then we'll do the sequence of videos on each balancing sequences. Okay, so if you have a vata imbalance, and this is the people, so it doesn't matter if you're a vata constitution, you can have another constitution, your prakruti, the one that you were born with, and have a vata imbalance right now, just because of a phase you are in your life, because of the weather, because of whatever's happening. So the vata imbalances are the more significant ones because vata kind of governs the other 2 doshas. So if you are very tense, so if you have tension in your back, in your neck, in your jaw, so if you're like tight and you clench your jaw when you sleep, you have tensional headaches and all those kinds of tension pains, this is a vata imbalance. If you feel very stressed, like excessively stressed, if you can't sleep, you have insomnia, especially the kind that you wake up in the middle of the night, but also the ones that you can't fall asleep. If you have a tingling in your ears, like you hear zzz, like weird noises in your ears. If you're very fatigued, very tired, a lot of cramping, if you're losing weight without trying, if you have a lot of gas and constipation, arthritis, any joint pain, your joints tend to pop a lot when you're a vata, and that doesn't mean you're imbalanced, but when you have pain in your joints, then that means you're imbalanced. When you have a lot of spasms, and even those little spasms in the corner of your eye, when your eye is twitching, so those little twitches are also vata imbalances. When your immune system is depressed and you keep getting colds all the time or keep getting sick, especially with viral infections, that means your vata is imbalanced. When you have a lot of dizziness and vertigo, a lot of cold, if you never seem to get warm, your extremities are always cold. If you have just dry everything, dry skin, dry hair, dry mucous membrane, so your nose is dry, your mouth is dry, your eyes are dry, even your vaginal mucosal membrane is dry. What else? Your mind, in terms of mind, psychologically, you are very anxious, you're very worried, you have a hyperactive mind that can't really be quieted, you have that monkey brain, a lot of confusion, mental confusion, lack of focus, so if you're doing something and then you get distracted too easily, you have a vata imbalance. You're very impatient, not impatient with people, that's more of a pitta imbalance, it's more of an impatience with like life and happenings and events. So you're very fast-paced. You can't wait for stuff. You're very impulsive, not in terms of reacting with other people, because that's more a pitta imbalance, but the impulsiveness that we're talking here is like a financial impulsiveness, like you impulsive buy, or that kind of impulsiveness. And you talk very fast, and you lack self-confidence a lot. And again, lack of focus. So those are all signs and symptoms of vata imbalance, and I'll teach you how to balance that later. So next one would be pitta. So pitta, when you have pitta problems, you have very inflammatory diseases. So gastritis, ulcers, heartburn, anything that burns. So UTI, what else? Acne, so things that burn in your skin as well, those rashes and rosacea. A lot of thirst, like an unquenchable thirst, or too feeling too hot that you can't, be comfortable because you're always so hot. You usually tend to have more diarrhea when you have pitta imbalance, more than constipation. A lot of liver problems, so jaundice, if you're kind of yellowish, if you're having gallbladder issues as well. Some nausea could come with pitta imbalance because of the GI distress. Nightmares, usually violent, very active nightmares. The mind is very hostile. The person has a lot of anger. They can be very controlling. They're very impatient, this with other people. They put on an exaggerated effort to get what they want. They can be very judgmental, very jealous, arrogant. individualistic, very competitive, and he's craving attention. She or he's craving attention, so tends to speak loud and try to draw attention to themselves when they are imbalanced. So that would be Pitta. Finally, Kapha imbalances are the least amount of imbalances that you can have. A Kapha constitution person doesn't really get sick a lot. They do just tend to have a lot of overweight issues. So being overweight, being diabetic, being swollen because they have poor circulation. When they're imbalanced, they tend to have poor circulation, so blood tend to pool in their extremities, so they feel heavy legs and just heaviness in general. They can have cough, they can have some congestion, either nasal congestion, chest congestion, sinus, a lot of mucus, so even the feces can be a little mucus, have mucus in them, and then also the nose and the throat having mucus. Diabetes is a Kapha imbalance, not the type 1 diabetes. That's not any kind of imbalance. The type 2 diabetes, which is metabolic. And Kapha people tend to get chills, when they're imbalanced, just like weird chills running down their back. And they can have nausea as well. And so their imbalances of the mind are lethargic. They're very lazy, they feel heavy, they just can't move, they're always on the couch and they want to nap and they can't get up early and they want to sleep long hours, 10, 12 hours of sleep. They're very stubborn, they tend to be a little greedy. They can also have a lot of, be apathic, in their mind and be really stagnant and tend to procrastinate a lot. So now I would like to know which of your doshas are imbalanced, if 1, 2, or 3, and then I will be glad to teach you how to get them back into balance.